Ziggity Zig back with the Friday Faff, and this is a game that was suggested to me by, down here we have the Terran player in the center lower part of Polar Lane Ellie of bozdoz. Waka 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 waka. I'm not wakaing. Why don't I get a waka? Stupid. There we go. I can waka like that, but I can't waka when I'm out on the Z stretch out? Well, that's kind of weird. And it's a TvP up against ShawnSpencer over here, and this is, I believe, when the titles came up, I'm pretty sure bozdoz was in Platinum or Diamond, but this appears to be a Gold League game, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at here, but in a TvP, I'm probably going to have a bit of a hard time cheering for the Terran player, because, man, if there's one thing that I like more than anything is to see a lot of Terran blow up. So I did get a number of replays from bozdoz who put them up on GG Tracker for me. You should all use GG Tracker. It's pretty cool and pretty awesome. Who is it I know that uses it? No, there was someone who did use it a while ago, but I don't think he does anymore. But as far as bozdoz goes, I will try to, well, I'll probably ask him just in case, but you should probably try to either follow him on Twitter, or I don't think he does anything with a YouTube channel, but as you can tell, I've totally done my research on this. So, up here, we have a pretty standard base thing going here. ShawnSpencer trying to get down the 13 gateway. There it goes. So sticking everything within the base. Meantime, bozdoz is trying to get this wall up, where ShawnSpencer is having a hard time remembering where the actual base locations are. So let's see if bozdoz is going to get this supply depot up just in time. Nope, does not appear to be the case, so ShawnSpencer's going to get in, and notice that bozdoz has a command center! Look the hell out! And the worker supply is actually fairly similar, so the two of them are now exactly on par for what's going on. If you look up here, the barracks is actually going to be in just a little bit before this. Are we on faster? This feels kind of slow. This gateway, which is on its way. So there is, and the only problem here is that bozdoz has removed his SCV from the ability to come back in the base unless these supply depots, once they, there we go. So it lowers down and this one is allowed back into base. You can come back in now! You've been out in the tool shed too long. Meantime, what's going on up here is bozdoz is staying just outside of range of the opponent's base, while ShawnSpencer does manage to get a second gas on the way. There's a cybernetic score, pretty standard there as well, and is now looking at, oh, I don't know, is just trying to peek and see that there's not any shenaniganry going on over here, and wow, gonna look pretty much everywhere, checking for the proxy racks. But the thing is, having got in and seeing this at about 3 minutes into the game, I don't see how ShawnSpencer could possibly assume that there would be anything other than just what is within bozdoz's base. Maybe Big City's either cheating, muling. I mean, muling aside, there are some things you can get with mules. Speaking of mules, there's a supply of that, and booyah. Managed to get that time pretty well. I do cold cast 100% of these games, except for the time when the recording does not take place, and I sometimes redo it if it was a really good game, and I just try to do it a little bit differently. That only happens every now and then. For the most part, totally cold cast every time, which is a really dumb idea, especially given the fact that I don't really know much about strategy for the different races. However, throwing down a factory right in front of a probe following you around. Yeah, I was about to question that, but it seems bozdoz also recognized that that was probably a pretty poor idea. So is not going to be able to do the proxy factory right away, so is going to have to move out these Marines to take out this one probe, because, yeah, pretty much owning the entire map at the moment. But these 3 Marines are going to make short work of this probe, and then this SCTV, this John Candy can go right back to doing what he does best, which is making a proxy factory right here, which is an intriguing spot to do that. I'm wondering if the proxy factory is going to just build a couple of Widow Mines, get the Widow Mines out, and then move the proxy factory up here for a quick little scout. Because, you know, to be honest, other than using a scan, which you don't really want to do, you don't want to waste, and you can't use too many units just to get up there. But what ShawnSpencer is doing now is putting down a Stargate. So it's kind of a, you know, one gate expand into Stargate. So, oh, look at that. There is the scan there by ShawnSpencer. And so I was just about to say, usually you'd put your Stargate kind of hidden up in the back, but if you want it outside of orbital range, this would be the place to do it. So here comes the Oracle. But the problem here is the Stargate does not see this factory down here either, so neither of them, the cheese is like 8 feet apart, and they can't see each other. I am loving the hell out of this. Meantime, bozdoz has taken quite a bit of map awareness right now, where he pretty much knows just about where everything is, does not know about this expand over here. However, this factory is eventually going to tell him, especially if he tries to move these Widow Mines up, and I would probably put them right here and right here, just a couple of Widow Mines just to be sure what is going on. And the only other thing that you could be putting out is Reapers, but you don't see, not Reapers, the other one, Hellions, thank you. brain for remembering the difference between a Hellion and a Reaper, where one is a four-wheeled little dune buggy with fire shooting out of it, and the other one is kind of a waste of space jetpack, completely impotent crotch jockey. I have no idea where I'm going there. But here come a number... Oh, and these more probes are kind of moving out, and here come the 3 stalkers right across the middle, and they're not going to see anything. And in fact, I don't think bozdoz caught much of that either. Maybe caught a corner of that out of this Marine checking off just here, but now, as you can see, the SCV does run into these 3 stalkers, and at the same time, this probe is going to come down here, and with this 3 stalker rush, which is a pretty interesting 3 stalker rush, with the inclusion of, and there go the oracles, so this factory has now moved just slightly out of way. Oh my god, it's like map hacks going on here. This is absolutely crazy. So the factory did manage to move just over here. No production coming out of it whatsoever just yet. But now the bozdoz is probably aware that there is going to be a Stargate play coming in, because I think bozdoz was able to see... No, not quite able to see that. Did see the pylon up there that was holding that off. But now gets a number of units here into the bunker. And for whatever reason, these oracles came in at the exact same spot. They didn't go around anything else. So here they come in, trying to take out some of these SCVs, but bozdoz just removes his units from the bunker and then comes up here and now pretty much just hops them back in just to protect against these land units. And for... Dude, there's nothing over here. There's nothing being... And there's the engineering bay to try to get up the missile turrets, because right now bozdoz has nothing defending his main base. Just these... It's all of these fresh, juicy SCTVs and John Candys and Eugene Levy's over here, but now he's just trying to get... Okay, so there we go, ShawnSpencer getting around on this side of things, and that's going to take out a number of them right there. Here are a couple of the Widow Mines, and there we go. So if you bury a Widow Mine right there in your mineral line, 2 of them possibly just there, and none over here in the main, but he is working on that engineering base, so that's going to be able to try to defend at the same time. So these oracles are just... I don't get this. I've never seen... Well, I usually go up against Griff, and Griff uses the oracles to come in around the base, so I've never seen them kind of defend the front line. So now bozdoz deciding to move forward a little bit more. Oh, getting off a little bit of a hit there with the Widow Mines, and now that ShawnSpencer, I do not think, has anything insofar as detection, not even a forge or a bay on the way. Oh, yep, there we go. The forge... for some sort of weird, crappy Forge Fast Expand, but not sort of a Forge Late Expand. But now what's going to be seen... Oh dear, this is still totally invisible. So what bozdoz is trying to do is he's trying to get a Widow Mine up there, and he does manage to get the proxy factory just in play there, but this Void Ray is going to be able to take care of that. Now the other thing here is that the Widow Mine is going to get picked up, even while buried, by the fact that the Oracle... Oh, I thought the Oracle did have a detect just there, but now, yeah, ShawnSpencer's having a hard time because he's not able to take out many of these units, but this factory is just not putting anything out right now, and here comes another Widow Mine, which is going to come in. This is a different kind of proxy Widow Mine, or just sort of a harassment drop. If you drop the building that creates the Widow Mines directly in, and then try to do something about it. Here we go, and I don't know if it's going to get itself buried. I don't... no, does not have time to get itself buried. However, this factory is not going to maintain for long. Here is yet another pylon. So the 2 proxy pylons outside of bozdoz's base are not really doing all that much right now, because what bozdoz is doing is just doing a fair amount of harassment here. And here comes the Void Ray, and there we go. So we now have the detection of... There we go. Envision for 53 seconds. So that's got a time on it. So why don't we see the timing on the... Photon overcharge. Why can I not think? I'm only about 4 seconds behind just about everything. Meantime, we have a Widow Mine on each of these Xel'Naga towers, and while unburied, they are not able to actually take control of the Xel'Naga towers. If you take a look at the army supply, bozdoz is quite a bit ahead, probably because of that enormous amount of mining time that he took away from the main base, where ShawnSpencer could only move the probes over here to the other side, and now ShawnSpencer is just trying to continue on with the Envision, just making sure that there's no buried units going on down here. Meantime, this Void Ray is going over the back because he's going to try to take a 3rd base, and actually, yeah, pretty much a 4th base immediately after this 3rd base. So now only 2 bases as it stands right now for bozdoz, and he is moving out a few more Widow Mines, just sort of slowly expanding out just to see what's going on. So once things start moving over top of this with ShawnSpencer's units, then bozdoz is going to be totally on top of that at that time. I needed more water that I do not have right now, but if you look at the income tabs, it does seem to be, it's still bozdoz ahead on 2 base versus near 3 base, and a capability for almost, for 4 bases on about 50%. Here comes some some upgrades. We've got some ground armor, some air weapons at the same time, but up here in bozdoz's side of things, he does have a few of the weapons at the same going down as well. So his army units are doing quite well. They are now at 1-1, and they're going to start moving out against a number of things, and he's starting to take these back doors here, but if he walks around the back, because I don't think bozdoz is aware of those rocks just there, but here come two Phoenix up against Terran. I'm not quite sure what is going to happen right there, but as far as ShawnSpencer knows, there is absolutely nothing being built at the moment. So there we go. So there comes this Marine, and he's going to take out one of the forward pylons. Still hasn't noticed the other one over here with the juicy little probe sitting next to it, but in this main base here, the engineering bay that did manage to go down, that will take care of being able to build as many missile turrets as need be. So right now, bozdoz has full control of the lower half of the map, with the possible exception of these two Phoenix over here and this one pylon. But pretty good awareness currently, where he can pretty much see all the way up the map, where ShawnSpencer is only taking one small corner of things. And I think if bozdoz were to move out, and holy crap, some giant space battles going on over here, if need be, where there's absolutely nothing below it. I wonder where everything would fall if the physics were enabled. So, physics is not enabled because physics costs CPU power, and I just do not have it to spare. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. So now, if you look at this, neither of these units are going to see each other. It's my favorite part of this game, except when I'm playing, is when the units just do not see each other. So right now, bozdoz is just doing a check, just trying to find out if there is a fourth base there in the main, fourth base over here. Not in the main, you know what I mean, and then just kind of wandering over here, jumping off the cliff and falling into the crystals. But these units over here are also checking for a fourth. They are finding it, and the one thing they are now going to do is just poke at a couple of these probes and just make him aware that that is what's going on. There's a few units here, so now ShawnSpencer is also trying to look out across the map. These units by bozdoz have just moved back around. There's a couple more Phoenix down here down the left-hand side, but these units up here of bozdoz still trying to search, and actually that Zealot should have taken a bit of a hit from the Widow Mine, but it doesn't seem to be the case now. ShawnSpencer deciding to move his entire army down here because this is where he was most recently harassed by bozdoz, despite the fact that he does not know that bozdoz does have these units just up here about halfway. I'm still just chuckling at the fact that this probe has just basically built himself a summer home and is just hanging out this entire time. There's absolutely nothing that either player can do with each other. bozdoz now nearing... We're getting close to 3/4 of a full army right now. Still just having a little peek around with these 4 Marines. Just running up ramps, running down ramps, and then he manages to get the Marine Marauder push out here. No medevacs to speak of, but kind of worked on the Widow Mine play, and I think moving closer to your Widow Mine play would probably be quite helpful. However, what happened there is that he did manage to pick off one of the oracles, and with this particular army right here, I think once these Widow Mines get through, they just need to bury themselves in strategic points around this one area, probably in a little strip here, just across this, and they can help out with this defense, as long as bozdoz remembers to just sort of back up and get within range of the remainder, but it's probably not really that much of a unit, because what's happening right now is ShawnSpencer is just walking away from this, and just deciding, yep, okay, base dead, don't worry about it, I am unconcerned. bozdoz having a little peek and deciding that, yeah, that's not a very big army, and now the tanks have started rolling out, so he did manage to stick with the play. There's vehicle weapons right now, the factory play, so we're getting into a little bit of biomech right now. Still no medevacs to speak of, but once you get into a bit more of mech, and with these Widow Mines, it's probably not going to make too much of a difference, but does manage to get out a couple of stims. So here comes the remainder of them, and oh, this is when the Dark Templar runs up in behind, and I'm not sure if he's going to have a look at that. Oh, it managed to get rid of one of the siege tanks, and I don't know if there's going to be a scan. There's the scan, and the Dark Templar is Kaputzi. Here are the remainder of the units, so bozdoz does continue to roll out units. There is no units rolling out right now for ShawnSpencer, aside from the occasional Dark Templar, and they just wander directly in there, so having a little bit more control over that, he probably would have kept them just outside of range, so they could have picked off a few more of these siege tanks, but right now bozdoz is just trying to contain the army and maneuver his army into a spot that he can attack once more. He is almost twice the army, well, over twice the army size ahead, and he's actually even a little quite far ahead on bases as well, although that one is not quite saturated. The main is probably, well, no, not quite oversaturated, but definitely starting to run out. There is the Widow Mine here that is going to catch this poor little probe and it's going to do missiles deal 125 damage to a primary target. So we're going to see what happens here. It's 20 and 20, and oh, he's going to get around there, and what is the... There we go. So ShawnSpencer did manage to get down a... there we go, and he finally does realize that that's what's going on. So I don't think... I'm not sure. We haven't really checked in here to find out what's going on. We don't see... No gateway. That might be... Nope, still no Robo Bay to speak of. So no observers are going to be going down. So the only thing that ShawnSpencer has for detection is... And here is the Dark Templar taking out a 4th base, so I think probably lifting that up would be a good idea. There we go, bozdoz. He's just going to lift it up. Lift it. Just could lift it. Lift it any second. And we're going to lift it. We're going to lift it. We're going to lift it. Miss Clifton. 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 Oh, Miss Clifton. Miss Clifton. Yep, Miss Clifton. Miss Clifton! There, thank you. Oh my god, I was running out of air. So, yet again over here at the summer home, this guy's just, sort of thinking about maybe a little bit of expansion. They're probably just pretty much happy just to sit underneath his, in the little hammock that you can stretch out to the two corners of the pylon, which is actually pretty cool, because then you could slowly circle your way around. Some people like to rock back and forth, much like this mouse is doing right now, but me, I think circling slowly and getting very dizzy, because nothing makes a hammock more relaxing than nausea. So here comes a few more units now, and here comes a Zealot that's going to run past. These have the tiniest range, so they're just picking off Zealot at a time. This guy up here, still doing pretty well, getting 1 kill. So now, the plan here, instead of making a Robo Bay and just sort of slowly getting out there we go, there's the Robo Bay, is to just sort of slowly push with and sort of cannon rush. You're cannon rushing the base, but you're cannon rushing a base that has no base in it, and it's in fact where you would eventually want to get a natural. So right now, if we have a look up here, the army supply is quite a bit ahead. The income is ridiculous for bozdoz because he has quite a lot of money right now. But when you have quite a lot of money and you have 200, and you're getting all your upgrades, and you're like 2, 3, 2, 1. Even the medevac is probably doing all right. But what's happening there is definitely, that was quite a hit. So that observer got picked off. So when you take out the observer to go and look at things, that's pretty much what's going to happen next. Next, here comes a couple more SCVs, and they're going to wander up around the back. Meantime, this base just down here is going to have a quick peek, and they're going to... Oh my god! The Ardos by alone! And the Viking doing quite well there for a little bit of space when the siege tanks were able to pick that up. And now we're up against a number of Phoenix who are just sort of doing a little bit of a boogie around here, and they are losing a number of units killed just there, so bozdoz is staying ahead of units killed. Meantime, over here on the Protoss side, there's absolutely nothing being built. There we go. We got 2 observers right now to go up against all of these Widow Mines. So it's not exactly an all-out Widow Mine attack, but it is certainly kind of, well, not really Widow Mine based. And there we go. The Summer Home does decide to build a number of units, and here come a few Dark Templar on their way in, but the curious thing in here is that they've run right past a bunch of missile turrets, so they're not really going to do all that much good. And so the next thing that's going to happen here is that bozdoz is going to run most of his army back and just take care of this small little Dark Templar threat, because he wants to continue to expand outward. But one of these Dark Templar did make it over here and is going to try to take out a few of these missile turrets, which will only really just kind of... Oh, wow. Does a DT apparently takes 2 hits to take out a mule? That's kind of curious. So now he's going to move over... No, he's not going to move over anything. He's just going to lift up what he can lift up and not try to save that refinery. Meantime, so it's now DTs versus Widow Mines. It's kind of the battle of the invisibility. And up comes the main army directly towards the main army of ShawnSpencer, which is just, even with half the army not quite arriving on time, that's not going to be enough to withstand what's going on, what's happening here from ShawnSpencer. Now, the DT is still down here in bozdoz's 4th base, I believe, but yes, with the very small army that ShawnSpencer had left, the income level had just been not detrimentally destroyed, certainly delayed, and it was the delay that was causing most of the problems for ShawnSpencer just there. So, GG by bozdoz, just keeping the pressure up and managing to prevent ShawnSpencer from getting up and getting the ball rolling on the giant Protoss Death Ball, parking a little Widow Mine right there in the mineral line. I know, I hate it when that happens, and so I think probably at some point before 14 minutes in, I would have built a Robo Bay. But that's just me. There's the Raven up there to also check out the Dark Templar, were they to be warped in. That was the Friday Faff, submitted by bozdoz. Leave me a comment down below. Send me an email, ziggityzig@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter, @ziggityzig. You can send me replays. If you don't send me replays, I just cast Elite AI games, because those are hilariously fun. I was actually kind of looking forward to that this week. bozdoz sent me some stuff, so, you got to do the submissions because it was a pretty cool game. I think that's it. Stay tuned!